Good morning, Stampers. Welcome to another Make It Monday video here at Crafty Heron Designs. If you are joining me live, I am so glad to see you. And if you are here after the fact, watching this pre-recorded video or this video, I am also very happy that you could join me. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this very pretty card. We're using the new stamp set Color and Contour from Stampin' Up, and it has matching dies. And I'm going to use the Stamparatus for placement, die placement. Or stamp placement. I'm going to show you some tips on how to use that. And look at this fun interior. Isn't that beautiful? Just wanted to do something special. This could be a wedding card. This could be a birthday card. You know, there are a lot of reasons why you could be happy for someone and wishing them happiness on their special day, birthday, wedding, whatever. I'm also using one of the new in colors, Fresh Freesia. This might be my favorite. I have to say that this set of in colors that Stampin' Up just came out with is probably one of my favorites. The whole assortment. If you're not familiar with Stampin' Up's in colors, they change every 2 years. So we've just retired a different set, and yeah, I was sad to see those go, but I gotta tell you, I'm really loving these. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to show you is the materials that you're going to need to make this card. So we start with a card base. It's cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and it is scored at 4 1/4. Then I have 2 pieces of Fresh Freesia. The first one is cut at 5.5 by 4 1/4, and the second one is cut at 5 1/4 by 4. This is going to be the interior. And then I have 2 pieces of white, and they are both the same size, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And we will have some Fresh Freesia ribbon. Isn't this just beautiful? It works like a dream, I gotta tell you. But we just need a little scrap of that because we're just gonna tie a knot in it. And I also used some rhinestones to decorate this card with. So these are the dies that I'm using that go with this Color and Contour. They come with the Color and Contour set. So let's get started. If you wanna see more of my videos, take a look, follow me, or on my YouTube channel or on Facebook or Instagram. I am Crafty Heron Designs, Linda Edwards with Crafty Heron Designs. Okay, so first thing, I always like to start with stamping, and we are going to use the Stamparatus today. Oh, sorry, I knocked the camera. Sorry. Let's hope you can see. I can fit the whole thing in the camera. That's all right. I'm going to take this top plate off. That's going to be for the inside. So, as you can see, I've already mounted my photopolymer stamps, and you can see they've gotten kind of dirty. I actually did this card in a class on Friday, so it's tried and true. We really had a lot of fun with it, and part of the reason I mounted it was because I really wanted to make sure that this was going to be centered in the front of my card, and I wanted to make sure that the sentiment was also centered. So I am going to use some black memento ink, and I like to put that under there so that when I stamp the ink on the card or on the stamps, I get a nice firm contact. And of course, with the Stamparatus, it's not that big of a deal because you can go over it several times to get a really good image. I'm going to just check. I always like to make sure my magnet's not in the way. Because this is a photopolymer stamp, I do have the black pad, the foam pad underneath here. I've got this tucked way up in the corner because that's the way I set up the stamp. And there we go. So this particular piece on the front of the card is stamped, it's cut with a die, and it is embossed. So I wanted to talk about the order in which you do these things. You stamp first, and I think I got a really good image there, so I'm good with that. You stamp first, and then we will cut and emboss. I'm going to put this aside because I have my Stamparatus out already. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my envelope. Now, this is my tip for you. The envelope, I'm going to stamp just the corner. This is what it's going to look like. But as you will see, I can't do that, right? It's not going to fit. So rather than take the stamp off and start over, especially if you're going to do multiples, I'm going to just play around with the placement. I'm going to move this down because I want this to be up in the corner. As you will notice, I also have my sentiment in the way. So I'm going to just kind of, I think you can see that, play around with, of course that's not right. I want it to be right about there. But of course, my sentiment is in the way. So I've got a tip for you. I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper, or you could just tape. Actually, let's go ahead and use these are Post-it notes. This is the super sticky Post-it notes. They're sticky on both sides. Probably wouldn't be a big deal for here, but I'm going to go ahead and just clean that off, and then I will make sure I don't get, when I ink it up, I'm going to make sure I don't get any ink on that. Which for any of my girls watching, this is how we should have done it. I moved it and set it up for you, but we still had some overages, which is how I learned, how I decided to change this. So there we go. I can see that should be okay. Let's see, how well did I clean my stamp, right? That's what is going to be the truth. Yes, that worked. But it didn't quite. I was so careful not to try and get ink. There we go. Okay, so now the envelope is ready. The stamp is there, and then I'm also going to stamp the inside of my card. Now, the inside sentiment is from Peaceful Moments. Wishing you every happiness this day will bring. And again, I did set it up ahead of time. So here's so I lined it all up on my Stamparatus. I made sure that it was lined up with the little lines, and I tested it on a sample card, and I know that it works. Now, you don't normally need your felt pad with the cling stamps, so I can take that out. But I will tell you that I tested it and it worked just fine. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave it in to show you. Because, I've got two different kind of stamps, and in a class, it's a little tricky sometimes to be changing things around, or sometimes you forget. It's like, oh, I forgot, I didn't take that out. Not a problem. This will work just fine with the pad in there. And sometimes, because you're in the corner, you do want to lift that stamp up a little bit. Let's see here. All right, I'm kind of looking at, I always like to look at my stamp and see, did I get some good coverage? There you go. See, I do have that felt pad in there, but look at that. See, it's not a problem. So it's very important that the felt pad is in there when you use a photopolymer stamp. Not as critical. You don't need it for the cling stamps, but it won't hurt it to keep it in there. All right, so get that out of the way. The next piece of stamping that I need to do, I like to do all my stamping first. So let's go ahead and do the rest of our stamping. And all we really need to do, there's not a lot of stamping with this card. All we're going to do is color in the flowers. Now, there are lots of options. You can use watercolor, you can use blends, but I'll tell you, this stamp set is so cool. It gives you the watercolor effect just by using the stamp. So it's got a filler stamp. And so another tip that I'm going to give you, lining this up, there's a bud. See that bud right there? I'm going to use that to line up the bud here. And it's not going to be perfect fill. So the way I'm doing is I'm looking at this bud and I'm lining it up there. And then I'm looking at the other flowers and kind of rotating so that I line up kind of the peaks of some of the other flowers. Again, it's not going to line up perfectly. It's not designed to, but at least it gets me close. And then I slowly press down, hold a few seconds, and lift. Isn't that pretty? And did you notice I made sure to use my foam pad? All right, let's do that again one more time with the envelope. Look at the bud, rotate the flower a little bit to make sure that it's kind of lined up. Press, give it a few seconds. Voila. Okay, envelope is done. All of my stamping is done. And now we are going to use a punch. We are going to use die cutting. We've got a little bit of everything for you today. So that interior piece, let's see. Let's go ahead and do the inside. So I've got the 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of fresh freesia, and I'm going to round the corners. You see this? This is the detailed trio punch. We're going to use 2 of the sides here on the detailed trio punch. Gosh, I'm sorry, my lights are just shining in there today. Let's see if I move that over. There we go. So a little tip here, you want to make sure you line up these corners. See this little edge here and here? Line your card, make sure it gets all the way, and then from above, you just turn, line up, and press. There we go. That one. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Turn, again, make sure I'm way in the corner. On this card, I'm also going to use this little accent, this little detail. Again, it doesn't really matter whether you use the curve first and then the other. It turns out fine either way. Ask me how I know. I tested both. Okay. And I also am going to round the corners of my card itself. So I'll go ahead and fold my card, use the bone folder, and make sure I use the right side, right? Here in the corner. This is a really handy little punch. It just, it's just a little detail, but it just takes the card to the next level, and it's not difficult to do. So there we go. We got those little itty bitty bits and bobs, get them out of the way. And our card base is done, as is inside. You know what? Did I use this? I did. No, that's fine. That's right. Okay, there we go. Yep. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this, attach the inside to the base. Isn't that always the way, right? Get started on camera and your glue doesn't work. It's all right. There we go. And same thing. So I hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday here if you're watching me live. And the weather's been beautiful. It's spring here in Georgia. And yeah, it's life is good. What can I say? There we go. All right, there's the inside. Done. So now we're going to work on the outside. So we've already stamped the front of the card. I've got 2 layers on the front, one of which I've already die cut. Just to speed things up, this was the base layer, and I just ran it through the die cutting machine, and cut out the base. So that layer is going to go here. So I'm going to go ahead, since I've got that glue out, let's go ahead and attach that. So if you're watching live, tell me, where are you watching from? Are you local here in Georgia, or are you somewhere else? I hope that you are, wherever you are enjoying some good weather. All right, there we go. There's the base. Okay, so now this layer, we did the stamping. We're also going to emboss, and we're going to cut. So I'm going to bring my little cut and emboss machine. It just fits well under the camera, so that's why I'm using this little one. You can certainly use the larger one. It's not a problem. So because we are embossing and we are cutting, I'll use two different plates. This is the embossing, the main embossing plate, cut number 1, and it tells you on the machine what to use. You use 2 of the number 2 plates and 1 of the number 1 plates. So there's the number 1, there's another one, and this is the, I'm going to attach that. You can see that that fits right there. I'm going to cut the outline first, and then I'm also going to cut this piece out, but you can see that I've got the outline here. And I'm just kind of looking at how I want it to line up. I want it to be kind of equidistant here. Now, and I'm going to just lay that there. And I can use tape. Sometimes I will adhere a little piece of removable tape. You'll see, because I'm definitely going to do that on the other one. Put my sandwich in, get it started. And it's always hard when you've got a rectangle die where there's a solid line. When you run it through, it kind of, that noise sounds a little scary, but it's fine. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I love it. It's got a little stitching line around there. Just really adds a lot of interest. And of course, you could stop there and you could attach that and you would be fine. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to take it to the next level. This is kind of a wow card. All right, so now I'm going to line up my die. You can see I've got some of this removable tape here. This is just Scotch matte finish removable tape. It's in the blue container. It just doesn't harm the underlying paper. You need something that really is going to be tacky, but not harm it. Oh, you see. Okay, so lining this die up is a little tricky. Although in some ways it's nice because you can see the black. You make sure that black line is in there. And then I'm also looking at the top, looking at the sides, checking all the way around to see if I've got it centered. Okay. I'll set that on there. Double check it again. Oops, see, I moved it a little bit when I put it on there, so. Okay, gotta run that through. Die cutting machine. This little guy is handy to have when I'm working on cards right on my desk, I don't have to get up and go over to the die cutting station that I have set up. It's right next to me here. It doesn't take a lot of room. All right, there we go. I'm gently removing that and gently removing that. See, doesn't have any marks or anything on the die. Okay, last thing we're gonna do with this is we're gonna move that aside and we're gonna take this base and we are going to put it in an embossing folder. Okay, so now, different sandwich, because this is an embossing folder, it has a different thickness. I still need to start with my number 1. And on this plate, it tells you what to use. Insert embossing folder hinge first. This is plate 3. So my sandwich starts with first plate, plate 1. Put that in. Then I'm going to put my embossing folder in. You see that embossing folder? And then plate 3, which is this gray one. So Stampin' Up! Has made it so easy for us. They just tell us what to do. Okay, so now a lot of this is going to be hidden, right? So I'm just kind of lining up my embossing folder. Close it. I just kind of wanted to make sure that I had some of the embossing across the top and up the side here and bringing it down. So line that up. fold side in, take the other plate, run it through. There we go. I wasn't sure how I was going to like these narrow embossing folders when they first came out, but I'll tell you, there are a lot of applications for them, and this is perfect because it covers the whole plate, the whole piece of paper, and works beautifully. So, okay, let's get that out of the way. And all we need to do is assemble our card. You see that? See that embossing on there? So pretty. Okay. So now I am going to raise this part. So this piece is just going to be layered flat. I don't like to do too much layering, a double layer of dimensionals, because if I send it through the mail, I'm afraid it won't. It will require extra postage, or it just kind of ruins the effect. So I did go ahead and kind of make sure that I have a little bit of glue there in that little spot. But otherwise, we're just going to center that. There we go. Got a little glue squish out there, but it won't matter because this piece is going to go on dimensionals and it's going to be layered. It'll pop up a little bit and you can see the fresh freesia underneath it. So I am using I actually have to cut the smaller dimensionals. You can either just cut a regular size dimensional, or you can see that I kind of go around and cut my edges when I need to use them. That one should be fine right there. And I do want to just put, this one will be fine. I do want to put a little one there. See if that's going to be too big. I think that one's going to be okay. Can be a little tricky. Nope, that's good. All right, put these dimensionals on. Just take the little backing off. And layer that in that opening. Here we go. Isn't that pretty? Now you could add, some wink of Stella on there. But I got to this point and I thought, okay, let's add a little something. So I'm going to take and make a knot out of this out of this ribbon. Isn't that funny? Just make a little knot. And cut that end off. And ribbon and glue dots work very well together. So I'm just going to attach that to my card with a glue dot right there. And then I thought it needed a little bit of something extra. So I have these rhinestones. Just the simple, basic rhinestones. I use these a lot. You can actually color them. Maybe we'll try that. Should we try that? I didn't color the original ones, but I thought about it. Let me see. I do have the fresh freesia Stampin' blends. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use the dark one. Let's see. You have to let me know what you think. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Oh, yeah, you can see that color just a little. All right, let's see when we put them on. Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's pretty. You see that? I don't know if you can see that. Of course, now they're a little wet. I probably should have colored them first and then waited. Let's see if I can do this. All right. Let's see. Let's put one there. These alcohol blends dry pretty quickly, so yeah, normally I like to use this set. Let's see. Oh yeah, that still holds. Ooh, I like that. We'll put them both side by side. You can tell me what you think, if you have a preference with the color or without. Let's put one more right there. Oh, so pretty. And there you have it. And here's our envelope. That's my old one. Here we go. Now, who wouldn't be happy to get that? And here it is with just the silver or rhinestones. You know, they're both beautiful. I like them both. I don't know that I could have a preference. Let me know if you have a preference for one or the other. So happy you could join me today. That actually didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. My name is Linda Edwards. I'm with Crafty Heron Designs. If you do not currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like to purchase any of the items that you saw here today, please visit me at my Stampin' Up! Store, craftyherondesigns.stampinup.net. I will be back. I am here every Monday at 10 a.m. I do a live video. I also host classes in my home. If you are interested in joining us for class or an online Zoom session or tutorials or card kits, let me know. I'm happy to help you out. I really enjoy this craft and I love sharing it with others. So go on, have a great week. Thanks for joining me and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.